If your grandpa ever told you he had to walk 6 miles to school uphill both ways in 3 feet deep snow, there might have been a little truth to that. So today, I'm going to show you a very old historical schoolhouse. Before I do that, do me a favor, like and subscribe. If you're in a historical Facebook group, feel free to share this video into that group. This is not something that is open to the public. It's not something people have access to otherwise. This is off the beaten path in the woods. So please subscribe, please like. This schoolhouse was built in 1878. To give you an idea how old it is and how long it's been standing. 1878, and today we're gonna explore it. I'm gonna go over some of the history with you. So as you can see, it is snowing right now. It's pretty cold out here. So let me go ahead and turn this camera around and we'll get started here. First thing I want to do, though, is there's this outhouse over here. There's actually two outhouses initially when the school was built in 1878. This one's pretty much fallen over and collapsing. We'll check it out anyway. Yeah, there's not much left of this one at all. The other outhouse is actually preserved. It was taken away to a nearby place because their outhouse at the time was getting old and the outhouse out here was better. So they actually took the other outhouse and moved it. So I might get a chance to show you that later. But let's go take a little bit of a tour of the schoolhouse. Now, initially, when this was built in 1878, it was built by a local family, and if you wanted to go here, you would have had to actually pay money because something had to support the teachers. It wasn't a public school at that point. I don't think sometime after 1883 it actually did become a public school at that point, but initially this was a schoolhouse. If you lived in the area, local teachers, local people of the community, they would have taught here. So as you can see, considering how old it is, it hasn't been restored. It really needs a coat of paint and stuff like that. So if anybody wants to volunteer to paint it, maybe leave me a comment or send me a message. But if we look at the corners here, we can kind of see there was some red, so I'm assuming this was barnwood red at the time. The shutters still have a nice blue color to them even after all these years. It's built on a rock foundation that would have been just quarried locally. Did have some concrete mortar in it, so it is new enough for that. You can see the timbers and such underneath. It's held up surprisingly well. If we go on around, obviously there was no electricity, no plumbing in those days. This would have been your source of water. This well right here. This cistern still exists. Still water in it. I don't know that the top comes off of this considering it's frozen, but you can see the reflection of the water down there. The chain has since rusted and fell in, but that would have been your water supply. Again, if you just look out here, even today, this is still in the middle of nowhere. So you can imagine in 1878 how off the beaten path this was. This is covered up with snow. This is actually a log cabin that got disassembled and sat here, and there was tin put over it, but as you can see, it's actually rusted. Well, the tin's rusted. The wood has rotted pretty much away, but those are old log timbers for an old log house. Got the creek right there. This side, more blue shutters. There's the creek. Really, the creek is right out the front door. There's the creek, and this is the front door. Have a window upstairs. Well, that's something I didn't show you on the other side. Let me go back over here real quick. There's actually this little opening up here. You could actually get into the attic above the schoolhouse. Might be cool to get a ladder or something at some point and explore up there, see if there's anything still up there. All right. So let's go ahead. Go inside. Floor is covered in straw, but I think it's actually kept it relatively preserved because it's probably kept it kind of dry, and these would have been tongue and groove boards. So if we come inside here, already in the corner, you got the coat hooks that the kids would have hung their coats on. Still got the siding, still got the plaster, still got the roof beams and everything. So that's why I was showing you that hatch upstairs earlier. That's above this actually. So the roof and everything has stayed intact, which is preserved this rather well. So right now it's just a lot of storage, I would say. But even stuff stored in it's a lot of it's kind of old. So we're going to try to walk through here. Who knows the last time these windows were actually opened. Got the nice little decorative nails there, and oh no, those are somehow spring loaded there to open. So. This next one actually still has the original window shade on it, if you can believe that. I don't know if that's from 1878 or newer. You can see there's some old lawnmowers in here back when you had to actually push your lawnmower and it mechanically rotated some blades. So we get to the chalkboards. Up here is kind of neat. This would have been probably where they would have had some maps and stuff. I'm just guessing they would have lowered down or something. You can imagine in 1878, you know, the United States didn't even have all 50 states in it, and how different the countries were and the borders were back then. So the maps would have looked very different than what we're used to today. Come over here. There's the stovepipe. There would have been a stove right in the middle to keep the whole thing warm. Looks like that is the one place water is getting into, though, is through that chimney. So it's good to document this now while, oh yeah, you can see up there that chimney's still brick. It goes Goes right on up. All right. So let's look at the front here. This is some of the coolest stuff. Some of the chalkboard writing and stuff. That was one of the teachers. If I can get close, I'm walking on a lot of stuff to get here. Somebody drew a picture of it. Looks like a lady. That looks like a pig. The other one looks like a lady. These chalkboards aren't even, you can see they're starting to come apart, but so if you can just imagine, this would have been every grade K through 6. I'll back up here so you can kind of see the whole thing at once. So you had this entire one-room schoolhouse, all the grades K through 6. This is where you went. Teacher taught the kids. Some of the older kids would have taught the younger kids. This schoolhouse lasted until 1942 when the teacher was drafted for World War II. So all the desks, maps, books, and everything at that point were taken to another local school. The kids were German. I mean, back then they came over from Germany, so they actually spoke German at home. So they actually had to quickly learn English here. I do have one thing I do want to show you. This, get this out here. Find a place I can set it down. This is an actual school bell used at this schoolhouse. So this was actually used by one of the teachers at this schoolhouse here. Not the loudest bell in the world. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe that's how it has to be done. But this was an actual bell from this schoolhouse that still survives today from one of the teachers here. I thought that was really neat. I wanted to show you that. Put this back away, because this cannot stay out here. All right. School year was much shorter back then because most people were farmers, so the children needed to be home to help with planting and harvesting. They actually got education. I said the K through 6, but I think it was actually K through 8, or at least to 8th grade. So yeah, I just wanted to show you this today. Again, if you're into old buildings, things like this is not something that you're normally going to get to see. There's other writing and stuff here on the chalkboards from back then. That looks, guessing that's 2 times 6 minus 28. These are probably stir sticks to stir like apple butter and such, I'm guessing. See if I can lean. We even have an old wash machine here. Is that a wash machine? No, maybe it's not. Maybe that's not a wash machine. That's maybe an apple press or something. I almost want to open it up and see. Oh my goodness. Or a churn. Mice have gotten in there for sure. See if I can pull this old mattress back. Small writing on the chalkboard. Oh, this is cool right here. This is a net. That is a boat and a sail with a fishing net cast over the side. That's some of the more, probably some of the older stuff that still survived on this. That's what a one-room German schoolhouse looked like back in the day. So, hope you appreciate this video. Again, I really need you to subscribe. Feel free to share this on some kind of historical websites. If you're a person that comes across that, it's into this. Back of the door is really in good shape too, considering all the years. Used to have a lock plate on that side. More hooks and such to hang your coat. More shades and stuff that still survive. But it's just amazing that this whole entire ceiling and the actual building itself has stayed so dry over the years and survived so well. So that's all for right now. Appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. So just one more thing. This would have been a book they would have used in that schoolhouse. We check out the copyright date. 1895. So this would have been an actual student's book that was saved from that era. Make a picture of Indian wigwams. Draw pictures of weapons Indians used before they obtained firearms. If you're really good at reading your cursive, you can probably read that. Some colored maps they did. That's a hand drawing. So you can just see this book has been around for well over 100 years, but Stamp Act of Congress. War of 1812, which at the time wouldn't have been incredibly long ago. I mean, it still would have been 75, 80 years ago, but not like it is today. So, draw a picture of the flag. Not going to count if there's the right amount of stars in there or not. No Hawaii. Idaho and Montana don't look quite right yet. So that just gives you an idea of the type of stuff that they studied, type of writing they did back then. What they were learning. So hope you found this useful. It's a cool piece of history. Do me a favor, share it, like it, subscribe it. Thanks.